They've really done it this time, guys. Democratic Representative Al Green from Houston, Texas, has just tipped his hand, and he's shown us what the party's strategy is going to be during this entire Trump administration. And honestly, I can't say I'm impressed. Hasn't even been like 4 weeks, and they're already trying to impeach President Trump. They have not learned anything. In fact, this just proves what my uncle keeps saying about the party, that they're all clowns. You see, Congressman Green, he did this exact same thing before. He made 3 attempts to impeach President Donald Trump during his first term, and now he's making his first impeachment effort over what he calls an ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Even though the president himself has said that they want to rebuild the region after all the fighting and destruction that has happened there. So what exactly is this guy Al Green even talking about, right? In fact, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was not afraid to double down on President Donald Trump's proposal for the United States to take over the Gaza Strip, saying all options are on the table. Now, if you want to talk about impeachable offenses, what about the recent discovery by Elon Musk in the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE? Now, of all things, about $8.4 million in taxpayer funds were obligated to Politico over the 12 months ending September 30th, 2024. And what was going on during that time? Oh yeah, Kamala Harris's campaign, or Joe Biden's campaign, both of their campaigns against Donald Trump. So apparently they've been using taxpayer dollars to subsidize subscriptions to the very biased and very liberal newspaper. So what do you guys think about that? I say no more. Republican spending hawks in the House of Representatives are probably in the same camp. Recent news says that they've been trying to push these leaders to include at least $2.5 trillion in spending cuts as a part of its first massive piece of legislation that they're creating to advance President Trump's agenda. You know the first thing that they should cut? Tax money going to media outlets. I mean, really? $8 million to Politico? Who approved that? I didn't. Did you? We want names and we want them held accountable, right, guys? Well, I did some digging for you already, so stay right there, guys. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into this. First off, I want to say thank you all for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and for subscribing to the channel. Thank you also for sharing this video. I really do appreciate the support. It totally does help me out. Okay, first, guys, let's jump into this. Congressman Al Green announcing the movement to impeach President Trump. Watch this.
And still I rise, Mr. Speaker. And I rise today, Mr. Speaker, with a to whom it may concern message. To whom it may concern, ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke. And the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. Ethnic cleansing has been a crime against humanity. And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the President said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America. I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done. I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass-up movement, not a top-down. The people have got to move forward. The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done. I did it before. I laid the foundation for impeachment, and it was done. Nobody knows more about it than I. And I know that it's time for us to lay the foundation again. On some issues, it is better to stand alone than not stand at all. On this issue, I stand alone, but I stand for justice. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back.
I don't know, guys. Maybe we should just go ahead and impeach Al Green instead. How about that? Let me know if you guys are down with impeaching Al Green. Let me know. Maybe that would be more of an accomplishment for America over impeaching Trump, right? Like, what do you say? Because seriously, this congressman from Houston, Texas, he already made 3 attempts to impeach President Trump during his first term, and now he's initiating his first impeachment effort in 2025. He calls Trump's plan to rebuild the Gaza Strip an ethnic cleansing of the region. How does he come up with that idea, right? He even went on to say his formal impeachment articles are for dastardly deeds and dastardly deeds done, and that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass up movement, whatever that means. Every time he says like dastardly deeds, I think of like Batman for some reason. I don't even know why. Anyway, but Trump clearly said in his announcement that the United States would take over a war-torn Gaza and allow Palestinians to relocate while it's being essentially repaired. That's why even other Democrats appeared lukewarm to Green's current bid. House Democratic Caucus Chair Peter Aguilar, he admitted that it's not a focus of their caucus. And you know what? I think what Al Green did here is he just tipped the Democrats' hand in this whole thing, because you know what they've discovered during the House Judiciary Committee hearing for one of Al Green's previous impeachment attempts, right? That he said these exact words: "I'm concerned that if we don't impeach the president, he will get reelected." That's why Veteran Affairs Secretary Doug Collins listed Al Green's comments as one of several in remarks that basically prove that Democrats are just trying to usurp power of the voting booth through political maneuvering. Now, as Collins put it at the time, for Democrats, it has been and will always be, to paraphrase Lewis Carroll, sentence first, verdict later. I mean, ridiculous, right, guys? But still, you know, we got to keep an eye on these people. Now we know what they're up to, so we can stay even more vigilant for more impeachment moves like this one. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, guys. Hit the like button if you guys agree with what I'm saying here. And we want to stop these Democrats like Congressman Al Green from gumming up the works in Congress. Also, subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell for more content like this, guys. Stay tuned. We got plenty more to discuss in this one. Now, for one thing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended President Trump's words about taking over the Gaza Strip. For Hegseth, Trump is an outside-the-box thinker who's willing to overturn the apple cart. Now, he's got a point there. The president wants to take over the Gaza Strip. He wants to level it and rebuild it at some point in the future. He used the term long-term ownership position and said that it could be the Riviera of the Middle East. But Hegseth said liberal media is getting ahead of itself yet again. He clarified that it's Israel's job to eradicate Hamas, and once that happens, the status of Gaza is a conversation Trump is willing to have. He also said that you don't want to have to use American boots at all if you don't have to. Now, of course, we're going to need all of the military help that we can get at our own border, right, guys? Joey Jones, a Fox News contributor and retired Marine bomb tech who lost his legs in an IED explosion in Afghanistan, he said it could be part of the president's chess, and this is his way of getting places like maybe Saudi Arabia or Jordan to say, no, you can't have this, let us do it. Maybe it's that simple. Now, like Pete Hegseth said, our president thinks outside the box. And if this is going to be anything like what happened with the Mexican and Canadian tariffs, then we'll be golden. No American soldiers shipped out. Pete Hegseth was also pretty confident in the president too, saying that those of them that were at the press conference, they were not surprised that he'd think differently, because that's what he got elected to do. And yeah, he's got a point there too, right? I mean, we're already seeing this massive positive change in the government. Case in point, they just identified and effectively stopped USAID funding to media outlets, i.e. Politico. Hear it straight from White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt right here. Watch.
USAID has gotten a lot of attention the last couple of days with some of these bizarre things that we've been, taxpayers have been funding. Now it looks like there are a couple media outlets that have been dragged into this conversation as far as USAID funding as well. Does the president have any comment on that?
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on Do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
I mean, guys, we're talking about $8.4 million in taxpayer funds over the 12 months ending September 30th, 2024, meaning this was just in 1 year. Like, how much more did they funnel into Politico over the 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, huh? Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency spotted the misspending and said that additional news outlet subscriptions would be on the chopping block as well. And as he put it, many media outlets are going to experience a mysterious drop in revenue. Now, apparently, Politico staffers have already started feeling it. Many Politico employees typically receive direct deposit every other Tuesday, but this week they woke up and they noticed that the funds didn't hit their account. Now, according to an employee, management didn't communicate about the issue until 9 a.m. when they chalked it up as technical errors. I mean, pretty big coincidence there if you ask me, right? The employees were eventually paid, but according to staffers, it didn't appear as pending until after 5 p.m. Eastern time and didn't clear until Wednesday morning. As the employee put it, Politico screwed a lot of people. Hey, there's a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck, and that timing error may have caused somebody maybe to miss a car payment, a mortgage payment, rent payment, maybe even get some late fees, overdraft fees, who knows? So yeah, I did a little digging, and it turns out that USAID wasn't the government agency that has given the most money to Politico. The Department of Health and Human Services leads the way with $1.37 million, followed by $1.35 million from the Department of the Interior, according to USAspending.gov. Now, the Department of Energy has given Politico $1.9 million. The Department of Agriculture has given $552,000, and the Department of Commerce has given $485,000. So yeah, definitely worth taking a look into all of this, wouldn't you say, guys? In fact, Republican spending hawks in the House of Representatives, they wanted a floor of at least $2.5 trillion in the bill that they're planning to push through the budget reconciliation process. Quick review. The budget reconciliation process lowers the vote threshold for the Senate from 2/3 to a simple majority, meaning Republicans can get a big chunk of Trump's agenda done with the majority that they have in both chambers of Congress. Now, apparently, House Republicans have been having closed-door meetings about this, and the more conservative members are demanding a concrete plan and a minimum spending cut as significantly higher levels than what was initially proposed. According to one lawmaker, there's a lot of frustration right now, and there's also concern that the Senate could move forward with its own plan if the House doesn't release one first. Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham also announced plans to move forward with the upper chamber's own bill. So yeah, they're working overtime on this one, guys. Senior House GOP aides pointed out the countless listening sessions by Republican leaders culminating at the recent 3-day House GOP retreat in Miami to consult members and emerge with a blueprint for a one bill strategy that maintains scoring flexibility. It's pretty interesting what we've heard so far. 3 sources said that leaders are floating a plan that would include roughly $1.65 trillion as a baseline for spending cuts. 2 other sources said that it would also include measures that lead to an additional $1.65 trillion in economic growth. That, together with what Elon Musk is doing over at Doge, and man, we are definitely in business in Washington, right? Because we're going to see a lot of Trump campaign promises fulfilled via this reconciliation process, from more funding for border security to eliminating taxes on tips and overtime wages. Man, this is huge, guys. Trump himself also highlighted an extension of his Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 as a part of the deal. And yes, they're making sure that we stick to a leaner budget and a smaller government this time around. Representatives Chip Roy and Ralph Norman, 2 conservative members of the House Budget Committee, both said they wanted to see the baseline for spending cuts set at roughly $2.5 trillion. Roy told reporters that $2.5 trillion would amount to roughly $250 billion per year in federal savings over 10 years. Now, a big help considering that the U.S. was currently running a $36 trillion national debt. It was also part of what the House GOP leaders promised back in December to get conservatives on board with a bill averting a partial government shutdown. Like Roy said, that will unlock the door. Meanwhile, Democrats are busy trying to impeach the president in his first month in office. So what does this tell you guys, right? Drop a quick comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Definitely something we could pick back up in a future video. But as always, thanks so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and for sharing this video. I appreciate the love, you guys. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next time.